What's up, everybody? Welcome to a Sunday edition of The Squeeze. I am Tyler Conneym. It's another NFL Sunday, another loaded up Sunday between the NHL, the Major League Baseball playoffs, and of course, the NFL. Yesterday, for the third time this week, a 1-1-1 day. So we had the Leafs and the Lightning to go over 7. They scored 4 goals in the first 10 minutes of that hockey game, and it ended up 4-3, and it was a push. So that was a bit of a bummer there. Philadelphia Phillies money line check. They're 1 win away from the World Series, just like the Houston Astros, and a 6-1 win over the Arizona Diamondbacks. That game really was never all that close. And then we had the over between Winnipeg and Houston and Edmonton, and that did not come in. It was 3-2. That was a weird game there. If you were in the Discord, we also hit under between the Boston Bruins and the Los Angeles Kings. We also hit a 2-leg parlay from the Phillies and the Diamondbacks game, so that was nice. So before we get into today's picks, just want to remind you, get in the Discord, linked in the description below. It's where I post my full cards through today. We chat, we talk about EuroLeague basketball, talk about all different kinds of stuff. Should be pretty active today on an NFL Sunday with a fairly large card. And also, if I've won you some money in the past, hitting that subscribe button or telling one friend, hey, this guy does this every day. Everything he does is free. He just asks for a subscription. That is always appreciated. Okay, let's start off today with game number, what is this, game 6? Game 6, geez, already. In the American League Championship Series, the Houston Astros lead the Texas Rangers 3-2. Obviously, a very eventful game last time when you had the beanball, and then you had the ejections, then you had the incredible Jose Altuve home run to take the lead. Houston's now 1 win away from the World Series. Who do I think is going to win the baseball game tonight? I think this just feels like it's probably going 7 games. The Astros are favored -120. The Rangers are +106. I'm going to stay away from that, and I'm just going to go back to what's been tried and true in this series, and that is the over. It's at 8.5. It's -110 at Bet365, and you just look at these games, right? Since this series started, the game 1 was 2-0. That went under, and since then it's been 4 straight. The last game was a push, but the total was 9, and it landed 5-4, which would be an over today. Since 2-0, they've scored 9 runs, 12 runs, 13 runs, and 9 runs. And then today you've got Nathan Eovaldi, who did pitch fairly well his last time out against the Houston Astros. He went 6 innings. He struck out 9, but he did give up 3 earned runs. And then you look at Framber Valdez, who went last time for the Astros. He only went 2 2/3 innings. He gave up 7 hits, walked 1, and gave up 5 runs, 4 of them earned. He was not great for the Houston Astros. Hasn't been great of late at all. 4 earned runs in his last time out. Against Minnesota in the last round, he gave up 5. Against Seattle, he gave up 3. And then going back to the regular season against Kansas City, he gave up 7. The bullpen hasn't been all that great. I just think the way that this series is going, the way that it is trending, yes, even though it's an elimination game, I just think the Texas Rangers are going to be able to score runs on Framber Valdez, and I think Houston Astros is going to be able to counter with Eovaldi as well. Eovaldi's pitched well, no doubt about it, in the playoffs against Baltimore, Houston, and Tampa Bay, but when you do go back to the regular season, in his last 2 starts, he gave up 12 runs across 8 innings in his last 2 starts of the regular season. So I'm just going to keep riding that trend until it stops. Give me over 8.5 for -110 at Bet365. Moving now to the NHL, we're going to look at, there's a big card today for the NHL as well, but we're going to look at the Boston Bruins at the Anaheim Ducks. So Boston, despite losing a couple key players in the offseason and thinking maybe we would see some regression, haven't done that. They're 4-0 so far this season, 3-1 against the spread. You look at the Anaheim Ducks, they weren't expected to be very good at all this year, and they're not. They're 1-3. But they're also 3-1 against the spread. So even though they're losing, they're only losing by a goal. So they lost to Arizona 2-1, Dallas 3-2, beat Carolina, and lost 4-1. And then lost 4-1 to Vegas. So 3-1 against the spread there. But when you look at the totals, both teams are 3-1 to the under. So I'm going to go under here at 6.5. It's a little bit juicy at -125 at BetRivers, but a lot of books are at 6. I don't like, you know that I like round numbers like 7 in baseball, 8 in baseball, hockey 7 as well. When it gets to 6, I don't like taking under 6, even though the push potential is there. If it's an over 6, you get there, and then if it goes over, you're free rolling. But for a push to go under, I don't necessarily like that when the number is 6. It's just a little bit too low. So I'm going to pay the juice at BetRivers and go under. You've got Swayman in net for Boston. He's 2-0 with a 2.02 goals against, 9.43 save percentage. Gibson, even though he's 0-2, he's got a goals against of 3 and a save percentage of 9.02. And again, they're just going under. Even Boston's last game where they're 1 over was a 4-2 final. The total was 5.5. That would go under at 6.5. So if you put the number at 6.5, Boston's gone under each and every single time. Anaheim's 1 over was a 6-3 final against Carolina. The Hurricanes are a good hockey team. I think you can kind of throw that out the window as a little bit of an anomaly. Otherwise, they've gone under 6.5 every time as well. So give me the Boston Bruins and the Anaheim Ducks to go under 6.5 for -125 at BetRivers. And your last bet of the day, we're going to the NFL. Big matchup in the NFL today. At a 1 p.m. kickoff start, you've got the Detroit Lions 5-1 going up against the Baltimore Ravens 4-2. A lot of people actually like the Detroit Lions here on the money line to win this football game. This game is happening in Baltimore, so it just makes me a little bit nervous there, so I'm just going to take the spread. You get 3. So if they lose by more than a field goal, that's fine. A field goal, it pushes here. But look, Detroit's 8-2 in their last 10 football games under Dan Campbell, and they're playing very, very well. They won, obviously, week 1 against Kansas City. They got that big one, 21-20. They had a weird game against Seattle in week 2 where they lost 37-31, but they haven't lost since, beating the Falcons, the Packers, the Panthers, and the Buccaneers. And then when you look at Baltimore, they've sort of been a little bit, they're 5-5 over their last 10 going back to last season, and they're sort of doing this every other week thing. So they started out 2-0 with wins against the fairly crummy Texans and the Bengals, who were brutal that early, but then they lost to the Colts by 3, beat the Browns, and then lost to the Steelers. Last week, they did beat Tennessee. They're coming off a 3 consecutive weeks they were on the road, so they're back at home. But the way they're playing and the way Detroit's playing, I just have faith in the Detroit Lions to keep this football game close. That's why I like the spread at +3, and that's for -110 at BetMGM. So those are your 3 picks for today. Major League Baseball, give me the Rangers and the Astros to go over 8.5 for -110 at Bet365. Give me the Ducks and the Bruins to go under 6.5 for -125 at BetRivers. And in the NFL, give me the Detroit Lions +3 for -110 at BetMGM. As always, drop a comment if you're fading or following. Jump in the Discord to join the discussion today for NFL Sunday. Your audio is on Apple and on Spotify. Have a great Sunday. Let's talk sports.